far yet. But Sting is 100% set to take on Ric Flair. Now, is this time to come back
Flair's back, so
to TNA Wrestling? This is what's happening. We've got Sting v Flair, September 15th. If Sting wins, he will face Hogan.
now here I'll tell you about my test from that one, because
Right.
it's a nice link over and will address that situation. My test was very quick. It was a 3-point test, and basically what I did was started Impact, press play, and then didn't watch at the start. Clicked in like 10 minutes in. I think I saw Bubba Ray Dudley. I went, right, that's that. Clicked into the middle of it, and I think I saw Matt Morgan doing something. I went, right, that's great. And then clicked to the end, and what did I see? Hogan and Sting in the ring banging on about something in an arena that wasn't the Impact Zone but looked like a WCW Nitro from 98 or whatever. Then when I saw Sting and Hogan, I went, stop, and out of there. So that's my TNA test done this week, folks.
Is this the feud that will get a lot of nostalgia fans back into it? Now, there's been a lot of jokes made about Ric Flair, about how he bleeds on the way to the ring as soon as he hits the entrance ramp, about how he has been still attending house shows at an age where, I mean, Michaels didn't do house shows. You might find it tricky to get Taker to do some, but Flair was still showing up to these small venues. I have to give it to him. He must have some kind of passion, or maybe it was something else. Maybe he needed the cash. Who knows? But people have questioned why Flair has gone on for so long after that famous Flair Michaels send-off, the retirement, where everybody thought, look, you got the best send-off anyone can ever get. Of course, there never is a real retirement for wrestlers. They don't really retire. Might tell you they will, but maybe they don't ever do it for real.
Yeah, even Michaels is knocking around doing some deal, isn't he? Not so much wrestling, but, you know, involved with wrestling peeps.
This is it. I mean, he does keep busy, and I'm sure he keeps his character, in a sense, in check, ready for that next appearance on WWE. But will Flair ever go back there? That's what I've wondered. Now, of course, we've seen people come back from TNA, like Christian, eventually getting put over. And someone like Flair, I mean, they're not even going to think twice to put him over. If they need to make a bit of dough, if they need a WrestleMania moment, then Flair will be back in 2 minutes, without a doubt. Both parties, I think, would agree with it. But Flair v Sting. Now, of course, Sting has been making his way to the ring, acting like a serious jabroni, and I know it's a good character, but he's going nuts now, really nuts.
See, I don't know. I've lost it back in the day, in the last couple of weeks, but yeah, he was doing the Heath Ledger kind of Joker deal, which was I suppose refreshing for his character, but you know, completely ripped off to death. So there was nothing original about that decision. Is it going to be what's their attempt at a WrestleMania? Bound for Glory?
Is it, what would they usually say? Is it? Yeah, it's Bound for Glory.
Bound for Glory. So is that Sting Flair then for Bound for Glory, or is it just
I reckon it could
an Impact?
It's definitely, all I know is I think it's 15th. Actually, it may be an Impact. Someone will confirm that otherwise. But as I say, it's something that attracted my attention this week when I saw Sting v Flair was going to happen, and that stipulation: if Sting wins, he will face Hulk Hogan. Now make it happen. You know, Hogan can get to the ring. I'm sure he can work a match. I mean, I'm sure, you know, it might not be the best of matches, but I want to see that all happen. Flair, Hogan, Sting, one last time. We can watch TNA for a few weeks, and after that, I just don't know what they're going to do. I mean, Ultimate Warrior has got to be next.
I'll tell you what they'll do. They'll have Sting v Flair, and the winner faces Hogan, right? And then we'll say Hogan wins, and then from there they have a triple threat. That's what I'd probably do.
Well, if they go with that, they have me back. I mean, I'm back now. I'm going to be looking up the TV next week to see how this is all going to go down. Because somewhere along the line, maybe we all have to stop being internet smarks a little bit about Flair. I know it's been kind of popular. I've probably said some stuff. We've probably said many things about him on here. But the guy still is Ric Flair. You know, he didn't turn a corner and go Benoit. He stayed the same guy. Now, there's been problems where we've heard of lawsuits and things like that. and issues with money. But in reality, I suppose, what do we really know? It could have been the promoters that were fucking Ric Flair. I mean, it might not have been all Flair. We're not certain of that. But I would like to get back to where I think that level of respect for Flair maybe came back. Now, it's admittedly tricky when you see him kind of, if you like, still throwing himself in the ring, but this attempt at Sting v Flair, it is very WCW, it is very Nitro, but I've always seen them as that.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It will be entertaining, I think, no matter what. I mean, as far as wrestling matches go, it's not gonna. Does anyone even care if it is a wrestling match? It's Sting, Flair, Hogan, yada yada. They're all past their peaks long time ago, Flair included, I think. They might make something interesting out of it. Who knows? They are where they are, I suppose, for a reason. And look at Taker, Michaels. I mean, the first one, I don't think anyone would have expected that kind of a match. So it goes to show that the legends can pull it out of the bag when they want to. But yeah, I mean, when you're trying to put focus on new talent and the younger guys, and you still have these guys hanging around, I don't know if it's the best thing in the world. But then if they weren't there, you kind of need the big names to pull the money in, pull the crowds in, and bring a bit of excitement to the pay-per-view.
It's been such a focal point of people's criticism of TNA in these past few years, how even before Hogan Bischoff, they were bringing in ex-WWE guys who maybe were workers in the WWF 10, 20 years ago, and they've never really stopped doing that. But in a sense, what else could they do? Because, I mean, of their new stars, if you talk about people like Frankie Kazarian, if you talk about someone like maybe AJ Styles, I'd probably buy Styles, but of all their other so-called young talent, I mean, they're good in some places, some TV tapings like a TNA, that suits them. But I couldn't see Christopher Daniels at WWE.
Yeah, they'll always be supporting cast for the most part, won't they? No matter what way you look at it.
It's true. Now, 91Ks and 01 joining us. I love TNA, but I don't want to see Hogan in the ring. He has had way too many problems with his back and his knees and hips. He can barely walk, let alone wrestle with Sting, who is healthy. Sonic Akuma, lucky the Stinger is still doing good. And 91 says Sting is the crazy one in TNA, or Truth, the crazy one in the WWE.
It just goes to show, though, I suppose, it's all relative with this one and this topic. If, what's his face? Sting and Flair, what I was going to say is with the Super SmackDowns and Super Raws and all that deal, and the main event top tier guys hogging the spotlight and hogging the programming and the TV tapings, just the way Flair and Sting continue to, and Hogan definitely, hog the Impact tapings, how are the young guys supposed to shine and become relevant, or become like a Christopher Daniels, a main event guy, if he's not given the time to run with it or establish his character? But still, they give it to an Eric Young to do. He seems to always
he lands on his feet every time.
Land on his feet, yeah.
He really does.
That's the one I was going to think.
He's been helped, I hear.
And the only reason I've seen this is because of the Facebook deal. It's just been heavy on the Eric Young stuff all the time. I don't know what the hell he's doing, but Eric Young seems to be on my feed 24/7 these days.
No, Eric Young is somebody who's never lost his position. No matter what was happening, no matter who came in, anything that went on, Eric Young always had something, even if it was just a tag team. He was always present in some form. So it has been said in the past he's one of the favourites of at least Dirty Dutch, who I believe is now gone. So maybe that support is not so much there anymore. But I know he was a big supporter of him back in the day. But it's such a relevant point, and it's been discussed since the beginning of TNA. Can young guys actually get over there with all these old guys coming in? Is there ever going to be a time in TNA where young guys will be the full-on focus, where it would be a brand new show? Maybe it's going to take someone like Heyman to actually set up something where all of those cliches, like let's bring back the old guys, let's bring back this guy from here, and etc. Maybe he needs to start something, and I look at him as a saviour who really could do something that would shock. Bring back a show or start a show where you wouldn't have that constant flow of ex-workers from WWE. It kind of calmed down recently where anybody at one time who left WWE, it was automatically, well, they're going to TNA.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of, that flow has stopped a bit. I mean, has there been discussion about Melina in TNA?
I think so, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that could work though. I mean, Melina, Mickey James, reinvent that Knockouts division once again. It was a focal point of why I liked Impact recently.
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, it just tends to happen that they go there and it's the hot topic for 5 minutes, and then it gets, it's oh right, back to whatever. They bring back a Tracy Brooks or somebody like that, and that's fun for 5 minutes, and then somebody gets dropped and somebody gets fired and then someone gets injured, and before you know it, you're back to I don't know, the beautiful people or something like that, to week in and week out. Just I don't know, TNA, fucking hell. I saw a good interview actually with some sports network in the States, and the guy was interviewing Jeff Jarrett and Eric Young. This is one I did watch, and literally the guy like broke Jarrett down big time on camera, and Jarrett knew the guy was pushing his buttons, but he was basically saying to him, listen man, I mean, you were just churning out the same fucking shit, and really calling a spade, and Jarrett knew he had his number, but as much as he tried to counteract the attack that was being forced on him by this interviewer, he didn't stand a chance. I think Eric Young just kept his mouth shut for the most part, with a smirk on his face, because he didn't know what to say, But I mean, it just goes to show their product, for me, I think, is in serious trouble, I have to say. I don't know if they can sustain financially, but as far as everything else goes, there's nothing to interest. I know they've got what's his face, Austin Aries, back there. I haven't followed how he's getting on. Kendrick, I don't know if he's still knocking around there, but those are the guys I don't mind and I kind of enjoy seeing. But no, nobody else really, I have to say.
Well, it's funny because we're not the only ones talking like this, as many fans will know who check out opinion videos on YouTube, read the forums and all those reviews on the Dirt Sheet websites. I think everybody's on the same page with TNA. It's not just one person's opinion, it's a large majority. People who were big time fans who'd watch it week on week. I certainly would not have missed it before. I can remember when I thought of Impact as like a Raw counterpart, and I may have watched Impact before SmackDown. Maybe I would have only watched Raw and Impact. I mean, it was their kind of colourful weekly big show.
Up until only recently, actually, I was big into it, I have to say. In the last maybe 3 months.
That's right.
Somewhere along the line, that was actually the writing was really, really good. And then it just took a big nosedive. I mean, a serious nosedive, and became so stale. I don't know what the reasons behind that were, but it happened.
I remember it clearly that you were actually still trooping, still watching that thing week on week, and I know I wanted to. Anytime I tried to, I was just bored to tears, and like I kind of saw where every show was opening up with Bischoff and Hogan, but to get to a kind of a point where what would we like to see, it's so hard to say at this point because they've tried everything.
We're never happy.
No, we're probably never happy. I could say there's probably a few videos of us up talking about TNA going, wow, it was an incredible show, and wasn't it great when Nash came back, and the main event Mafia were unbelievable and things like that. We did like stuff, but I suppose what is there to like now? Not so much new storylines, but old storylines rehashed. Straight to our chat room where the comments are coming in live. Zombies says, can I Skype about TNA? We'll do that shortly. SP says TNA also loves to pick up the guys who can't pass the tests in WWE. We'll leave it at that. Of course, the family-friendly chat filter in effect here. SP103, I think TNA lost a ton of audience after the Hardy incident, and of course that was actually a bigger damaging factor than I ever thought was possible. When he came out to that pay-per-view and took the piss, if you like, fans reacted to that who even liked him, and they turned against him.
It was. I think that was definitely a turning point, the beginning of the downfall. Yep, I agree with that, definitely. Yep.
And of course, he's started to try and pull that back. Maybe Hardy realises that actually it isn't just Hogan and Bischoff responsible for the recent downfall, it's him too.
Although I haven't watched it, I do know that he's back, and I do know that in fact he addressed that situation by coming clean about it, saying he apologised for his whole deal with that pay-per-view. I could be wrong with that, maybe no, I'm almost sure I read that.
Yeah, what they're going to decide to do with this to actually lighten it up will be funny. I'm looking forward to seeing how Sting Flair actually plays out, but it's one I'm going to watch. I can say that for certain. It's definitely one I'm going to pay attention to. So I think from next Thursday, I'm not even going to wait till the challenge repeat now, because if I do that, I'll never see it, So I must get on just in here next Thursday.
You need to sell it to me then.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it. I'll try and sell it to you next week. I'm gonna watch live Impact. It's not live, is it? Of course, that's another thing they could do. Actually, that's what I'll say. If they're going to do anything, why not go live? And SmackDown should be live as well. The whole lot of it should be live.
Well, they're moving around out of the Impact Zone, which is a good thing, even if it does look like Nitro. But again, it's the cast, Sting, Hogan, in the kind of the small fry arena. It's an arena, but it's small fry. Just brought back those. Just looks very WCW late 90s, and Hogan's still knocking around. So, you know what happened to that company.
Absolutely, the Hulkster, Hulk Hogan. Is he causing a downfall of this once, I think, fairly prosperous rival company? They managed to lift themselves up to a level where they were on proper TV. They're on Spike, and they're of course on Challenge here in the UK and Ireland. They've got television all over the world, and of course Ring of Honor, they've lost their TV and they never had a chance, it seems, at getting any worldwide coverage. Somehow TNA found themselves in a place where, like I say, terrestrial viewers in the UK can watch that now over an aerial, which is a big thing that, we've never really had that here. It's always been subscription based. You had to pay extra, or you had to have satellite or whatever it was. So it seems unbelievable that with a platform here in the UK that gets them maybe 300,000 viewers, doesn't seem like a lot, but for a show on a digital channel, essentially, it's exceptional, and they have an audience here. So maybe it's worldwide only. I think America, though, a little bit more clued in. I mean, they know what good wrestling is.
Yeah, I think maybe it is time to call out Russo. I've always defended him in the past, and maybe that is the problem. Maybe I'm oblivious to the fact that the writing is atrociously bad at the moment for whatever reason. Even if you look at an FCW, I mean, that's more entertaining in 1 hour than TNA Impact is in 2 hours. So if the E's developmental territory is churning out that kind of entertainment compared to a show that has 2 hours on Spike every week, that's definitely saying something.